Hi, everyone. This is Lynn Bouthillier from lynnbouthillier.com. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of my new series, which is called Catching Myself Feeling Good. This is episode number 6 of Catching Myself Feeling Good. So used to saying special episode, but I don't need to say that for this one. But I created this series as part of my offerings on my YouTube channel, so that we can have a resource for people who are in trauma recovery, or those of you who are not, but it was designed for people in trauma recovery so that they can reacclimate themselves to feeling good and recognizing when they feel good. This is something that when we have experienced significant ongoing trauma, or just kind of a background hum of traumatic circumstances, environments, things like that, we can forget very easily how to recognize when we actually feel good, or when we are just having a moment of lightheartedness, or having a moment of being happy, a moment of being content, a moment of being in awe over something beautiful, or being really extremely appreciative of something that just happened, or a person who came into your experience for a short time in the day and left it. But what happened during that time, you might have been going, oh my goodness, I haven't laughed this hard in so long. Or I might not have even recognized the whole time I've been living here that my front yard and the view of my house from the street is really pretty. Or you might say, I never knew that there were so many colorful trees in the park where I live at this time of year. I've walked there, occasionally, but this year I walked there on a beautiful fall day, and I was just blown away by the beauty of the color of the maple trees that were turning. Things like that, when we catch ourselves just for a fleeting moment of feeling good, one of the things that helps us make new neural pathways in our brains as trauma survivors, we need to make new neural pathways in our brains. And one of the things that helps us to do that is to just have small moments fairly often of just going, oh, I caught myself feeling good. And I felt good because of that, or because of the feeling that I got from when somebody did that. Or I got to pet a dog, and it's a breed of dog that I have never actually seen other than in photographs. And I got to pet one today. That can be enough for us to just go, it thrills me. This is amazing. And I'm absolutely delighted. That happened to me this past summer. I was at a little park in my neighborhood just for a few minutes, just having, just a really short walk, because as some of you know, my back can't tolerate a whole lot of exercise. And when I was there, there was a couple who was sitting under a shelter, and I just stopped in my tracks because I had never, ever seen or petted a Clumber Spaniel before. And it's not a real common breed of dog. But I'm telling you, if you're in the presence of one of those sweet darlings, and the owners are, the dog mom and dad were so kind to say, would you like to pet her? Would you like to pet her? And I'm like, are you serious? I get to pet this beautiful dog today. That happened to me. And I felt like I was practically skipping all the way to my car, because it just put such a feeling of lightheartedness inside of me. This is what I'm speaking about. Now, some of you heard me say recently that I lost my Holey stone when I had an infected finger, and I was afraid I was going to have finger surgery to, drain the abscess in it at a hospital emergency room a few weeks ago. It didn't have to happen, but I accidentally left my Holey stone there. And then I said that I had done an abundance meditation and went to the beach, and I was just asking for the universe to please supply me with a new stone. And I'm going to show you for a moment what actually happened. I'm holding one of them in my hand. This is one of my new Holey stones. It actually has another hole in it right there, but it doesn't go all the way through, but the middle one does. And this is just a really, really cool object. I love holding it in my hand. And I'm going to show you for a second another way that I caught myself feeling good. I'm just going to take my camera and show you what's on. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a whole bunch of them in the tray on my coffee table. I hope you were able to see it. I won't know until I finish the recording and watch it back. But anyways, I tried. But I did an abundance meditation. And so what I'm going to tell you now is, if you have never done an abundance meditation, a great way to start would be by watching, let's say, there's a woman, she's from London, England. Her name is Marissa Peer. You may know about her already. It's Marisa Peer. And you can find her abundance meditations on YouTube. And if you learn how to do an abundance meditation, then when you have something that you need or want, and you want to bring it into your experience, when you do an abundance meditation, it absolutely can help you to have what you need and to acquire what you need, and to even to replace something like a little stone that was lost. But when I did my abundance meditation, I caught myself feeling, I can't even describe how good it felt to me to go to a beach about 14 miles from my house and just take a short walk on it and find that many holy stones there. I asked for a holy stone to replace the one that I lost. And what I received was, oh gosh, somewhere around, I mean, they're not, this is what would fit in my tray. And I also really, really feel good when I collect what I call finger stones. These are stones and they look like fingers or bars, but I love them. I just really love them. And for doing trauma recovery, if someone wants to hold a really good grounding object in their hand, one of these, what I call finger stones, can be really, really cool for doing that. So I was walking along and I was able to collect a whole bunch of stuff and bring it home with me. What does this do for my need to catch myself feeling good? It makes me feel like if I need something, the universe responds. Makes me feel like if there's a higher power, it hears me when I ask for something. It helps me to regain trust in the feeling that I can feel good. I have the capability of feeling good. And one of the things that trauma survivors can actually begin to have, it's not unusual at all, is for us to have developed a belief that I'm not capable of feeling good anymore. How do we undo that? We undo that by very, very small steps, very small successes that we can set ourselves up for. So I can feel a small success from taking a small action step, and it builds my confidence in my ability to prove to myself that I still have the ability to feel good. Even after everything that has happened in my life, after every single abuse, after every single put down, every single minimization, invalidation, exploitation, manipulation, every single thing that's happened that has made me feel disconnected, has made me feel unwanted, unloved, underloved, unlovable. All of the things that have taken place that can write that on the slate of our self-esteem. These things, as you know, a very famous television, doctor went on TV for years and years saying that writes on the fabric of who you are. And I don't much care for that individual and for the way they're conducting themselves in recent times, very irresponsibly, and at times extremely uncaring. downright, harmful. But what I will say is that that individual did teach us an expression that's valuable, which is what happens to us does write on the fabric of who we are, but we can write a new story. That's the part where we weren't being told. We can write a new story. We were just told, yep, writes on the fabric of who you are, and then that changes you forever. We weren't given the whole truth, which is we can believe that that's the way it is. And we can have proof that we aren't stuck there, and we don't have to always not feel good, because we have these very small, beautiful, creative, sometimes by sheer happenstance, ways that we can recognize when we feel good. So I'm going to give you a bonus one today. Okay. I might do another episode just about this, but I'll mention it briefly today, just to give you a little bit more. When I was dating my boyfriend way back in the 1970s and 80s, I used to listen to country music because I was raised in my household with lots of country music being played in the house and in the car, out in the yard, whatever. And it wasn't the only music that we listened to. We had a very, very diversified, playlist, if you will, in our household. But my dad was big into country music, and I kind of dug country music. I never wanted to immerse myself in the whole country music, lifestyle. I'll just put it that way. There's some people who like follow bands and all around the country and stuff. And I was never into that sort of thing. I didn't dress like a country and Western singer or anything like that. I just enjoyed it. I loved Loretta Lynn. I really liked Kenny Rogers' old country music. And I liked Waylon Jennings. And I absolutely love Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. And, there were quite a few, Buck Owens and Susan Rae. I used to love to listen to their albums. But then when I was dating somebody, guess what happened? I got told, nobody listens to country music. That's just garbage. And then he would make fun of the bass line. He would actually be mocking the bass playing in country music. He'd be going boom, 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 and just making fun of it. And then I started to feel embarrassed and humiliated. And then what can happen when we're in relationship with a person who is kind of controlling and abusive, or very controlling and abusive? We can start to have things that we love and that we enjoy and that bring us into a state of feeling good. We can begin to let go of them little by little to please that person, so that they won't find us unattractive, or so they won't belittle or mock us or shame us or humiliate or embarrass us. And then we can start to conform to this new way of being very gradually, and start to lose parts of ourselves, parts of what made me happy, parts of what made me feel good, all of a sudden started to drop off. And it's almost like a vehicle that's in really poor repair, driving down a bumpy highway and pieces of it falling off on the ground. That's what imagery is in my head when I think of how I was when I was in this relationship. I'm just having parts of me falling off on the road, and I'm moving at a certain speed, and they're just laying there, and I'm not going back to pick them up, and I can't retrieve them. And I'm, after a while, beginning to feel like I'm not even who I truly am anymore. But when I separated from my spouse, one of the first things that I started to do was what I refer to as gentle rebellion, or safe rebellion. And what that means is I was alone in my house, couldn't stop getting up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, where I used to sleep till noon. Immediately, as soon as I was by myself with my dogs, I immediately started to have this decompression. And I started to do, again, what I just referred to as gentle rebellion, which is I'm rebelling against my parents. I'm rebelling against my controlling spouse. I'm rebelling against some of my siblings. I'm rebelling against a few people in my community. But I'm starting to do things that really feel good to me and not giving a flying fuck who would disapprove. That's what was going on. So every day I was getting up, and I have this speaker in my house. I'll go get it. I'll show it to you real quick. Okay, this is called a turtle box. It's huge. It's actually pretty big. This is a speaker. It's called a turtle box. Okay, this is a very, very loud speaker. Now it has a low volume on it, of course, but if you want to take this thing out to a beach or on a boat or provide music in a very wide open space, this thing will do it. And the company is called Turtlebox. You can find them, I think, at turtlebox.com. But they're the only manufacturer of a speaker that is completely submersible in water. This thing plays music underwater, and you can take it out. Even if you take it to the beach and get sand, like beach water on it or whatever, you just gently hose it off when you get home, and dry it, and it's clean and it's ready to be put away. And I'll show you what the back of it looks like. Okay, it's really, really heavy duty plastic, and then it has this compartment that is sealable. I can't get it open right now, but my hands are there. You go. Okay, so there's where the ports are for the in and out. Okay, so you can actually connect this thing to, it's not like a PA. You have to use a 3.5 millimeter jack adapter if you want to use a regular, like a concert performance microphone, which are the kinds that I have for when I do music publicly. I like to sing in parks. I bring a source like this, okay, a sound source, and I bring that and I perform Spanish language music. Most of it is Spanish, what you would consider sort of country music, folk music, traditional music, the music of the Mexican cowboys like a couple hundred years ago. All that kind of weird folk Spanish language genre stuff. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Like I'll sing just a little bit of it on a video sometime, but I can't on Zoom because my channel is my controls are not set to being able to pick up a melody or sounds of voice or instruments in a melodic way, because the sound filters on Zoom consider that to be background noise, and it just filters it right out. So you just get a real choppy, skippy, like mostly blank sound with little tiny bits of it, but it's indiscernible. So I learned a long time ago, don't do that again. But so I have this turtle box, and what I started doing was getting up in the morning and using, well, I had a different speaker then, but playing music in the house and singing and singing and singing and singing. And a lot of it is country music and types of music that were not allowed in my parents' house, music that was not allowed in my marital home, music that my kids used to mock me for. I was doing this as a way of reclaiming myself. I wanted to put back what was lost from me, like the parts on the road going down the highway when certain parts of me were just breaking off and falling on the ground, which is one of my metaphors for being abused and losing connection with what we love, what used to comfort us, what used to make us feel good, what used to bring us joy. All of those things, I was in a heightened state of awareness that I have some freedom now, and I can reclaim these things. I even for the longest time, like right behind me, right where my finger is, right there, I always have that candle lit. There's always a candle in that jar when I make a video indoors. And that jar, that candle in that jar will always represent the people who had severe trauma and abuse and did not or could not survive it. It's to honor every single person who had that struggle and went home. They went back to creation because it was too much for their body and for their mind and their spirit. And all of the lights, my little lights that go across here on the knobs, those are really dimming out because I need a new battery. I have to get one and put it in there probably today. But there's a candle there. And then there's a candle inside that pine tree there. And then that little, right there, that little scent warmer has a tea light in it. For years, I couldn't have anything with any fragrance when I lived in my parents' house. There was no such thing as a scented candle or anything scented in our home. The closest thing we had to a scented thing in our house would be Life of Wood, which was furniture polish. And we weren't allowed to have like any of those Glade room fresheners or anything like that. My father forbid it. He said, I don't want to smell any perfumey stuff in my house ever. And he didn't even want his wife or his daughters to be wearing perfume. If we were going to be on a car ride with him, no perfume was allowed because he didn't want to smell it. Well, it was the same with our music. It was the same with what we could wear. So when I speak about feeling good from gentle rebellion, I'm going to show you, many of you have not seen my episodes where I showed that this is one of the, I have 12 pairs of Swedish wooden clogs, and 2 of them are from a different company than Troentorp Bastad. But these shoes were forbidden in our household. We were not allowed to own them. We were not allowed to wear them to school because my mother had a really, and I'll show you what the bottoms look like. It's just a really nice, comfortable, in Europe, these are considered orthopedic shoes. They consider them to be stylish, but they also consider them to be orthopedic shoes. These are navy blue, and the style is called Da Vinci. All of their styles of clogs are named after world famous artists, some of them living, some of them, most of them no longer living. But they use nails and, to nail the leather to the alder wood base. And they are just exquisitely made. And they're not as expensive as you would think they might be because they run sales very often. But you can go to Troentorp.com. It's TROENTORP.com. And you can find these clogs. This is one of the things I do to feel good. I just look at them. I go online and I look to see if they've invented new styles, see what new colors have come out, see if they're on sale. I haven't ordered any of them in 12 years, but I love to go to their website because I feel good when I look at handcrafted, quality, handmade Swedish shoes. Okay, so that's another way that I feel good. But let's go back for a moment to gentle rebellion. Okay, this means I'm not hurting myself. I'm not hurting anyone else. I'm not doing it for the purpose of gaining attention. I'm not doing it to be contrary with anybody. I'm simply taking back what was taken away from me by other people who had power and control over me. And so my shoes that I wear are gentle rebellion. Yes, I love them. Nobody is in authority over me at this point in my life, and I get to have whatever footwear on my feet that I so choose. And what is the feeling inside that gives me? I'll describe it. It gives me freedom. It gives me empowerment. It gives me joy. It gives me confidence. It gives me certainty. It gives me happiness. It gives me contentedness. It gives me a feeling of being creative. It gives me a feeling of being unique. Not everybody's wearing the same kind of shoes as me out in the world or at home. Here's a huge one. It does amazing things for my back. It puts my feet, my hips, and my back in proper alignment, which really reduces the amount of pain that I feel in my thoracic and low back and hip regions. Okay. It actually helps with my knee issues. So these things are all wonderful pluses for the benefits that I get from this. But there's also the emotional and the energetic uplifting that comes from this. So I've given you a whole bunch of stuff today in this episode of Catching Myself Feeling Good. I know sometimes I can be a little intense, but if you're interested in learning more about Turtlebox, you can go to turtlebox.com, and guess what happens when you purchase a speaker from them? It doesn't just come in a box with the manual, but it also comes in the coolest little cardboard folded thing, and it's got stickers in it. So you can put them on they're decals that you can put on your car windows or just save them, whatever. They're just in my desk drawer, and I love knowing that they're there. But it's a company that creates this thing. And as far as I know, I'm pretty sure they're made in the United States of America too. I'm pretty sure they're still made stateside. But if you're interested in having, a really nice piece of sound equipment that travels with you and it's waterproof, you can absolutely catch yourself feeling really good when you're enjoying your favorite music played on your Bluetooth device through your Turtlebox. If you get one, you will not be disappointed. I can guarantee you that. So it comes in a few different colors too. But I just want to summarize here today for the end of this video. I don't normally make a Catching Myself Feeling Good video that goes this long, but I gave multiple different examples of catching myself feeling good today. We talked about the Holey stones, and we talked about the Swedish footwear, and we talked about reclaiming what we've lost through abuse and oppression from being in relationship with any human being or group of human beings who have stepped on your autonomy. They stepped on your rights. They did coercive control or just plain control. They limited what you could have. And like I said, I allowed myself to say, oh, I had country music taken away from me a long time ago, and I'm reclaiming that. I'm taking it back. And it's not an obsession or anything like that. It's just that it's back into my my list of things that help me to connect with feeling good. And I don't have to worry about displeasing another person. I don't do that anymore. I don't worry about displeasing other people. Now, I will say this. That does not mean that I think it's fine to disrespect other people. No, I don't. Worrying about disrespecting other people is part of being responsible. I don't want to disrespect anyone. But I can respect myself all day long by claiming my autonomy and reclaiming what I used to give up so that I wouldn't offend a person thinking I have to pay these certain prices in order to be able to have a relationship with them. So I have to stop fully being who I am in order for them to accept me. Because I'm deeply fearful that if I don't give up country music when this person tells me I have to, that they're going to drop me like a hot potato and they're going to find somebody else to fill my space. I was a teenage girl. I worried about that. We can worry about that as adults too. So all of these different ways that I showed you today are really small, simple, doable things. And each and every one of you is so creative. Every one of you is so incredibly powerful. Every single one of you is so incredibly worthy of feeling good. And you get to pick and choose every single different way that you can think of to bring yourself into a state of feeling good for the purpose of recognizing that you're feeling good, for the purpose of creating new neural pathways for trauma recovery inside your central nervous system and in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, so that you can live beautiful days, absolutely beautiful days that you're so incredibly worthy of experiencing. This has been a really good talk. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Catching Myself Feeling Good. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.